Alright, today I'm going to talk about using GitHub Enterprise Importer. So I've got a couple of scripts that I've generated, and here's my GitHub repository, jfurl423/PowerShell-scripts, where I've got my examples. I've got multiple different examples in here under this repo. But you're going to need a few things for using GitHub Enterprise Importer, and I've seen a lot of videos that people talk about using it, but they miss the detail that a lot of them left out that you got to have to use it. So let's talk about what we need to run it. First, you need a personal access token, which you can find under your developer settings. I created a classic token. I know you don't see it here because I'm using another account to actually use the enterprise importer. So you got to give it proper access to move your repositories. And what GitHub Enterprise Importer allows you to do, if you have a private GitHub repository on your own server, self-hosted using GitHub Enterprise, and you want to move it to github.com, that's what the importer's for. It copies all your history, your pull requests, just anything associated with that repo. It will move everything over into github.com. So the first step, you create a personal access token. It's got to have admin privileges to both. Well, it's got to have admin privileges to your private GitHub site, right? You actually will need two. You're going to have a personal access token from your personal enterprise site that's got full access to the repo. And then over on github.com, you're going to have another personalized access token that's got full access to your repos and everything over on that side. So let's move on. Let's see if I can keep this straight in my head. All right, so first you're going to have to install GitHub CLI. I'm going to have links to this stuff down in the description. But you need GitHub CLI on your local machine installed, which allows you to run remote GitHub commands from your box and execute them over on github.com. You're also going to have to install GitHub Enterprise Importer, CLI. I'm going to have all the links. You can look. I'm not going to go through the setup. They have pretty good details on getting it set up, ready to run. They tell you all your requirements and everything that you need to do to get it to run in the README. So I believe you will need to change your after you move from your private installation over to your new one. If you have a local repository, you're going to have to change the URL of your remote. And there's plenty of videos out there. You can do a search on how to change a Git remote repository URL, and it's just one command, and once you run it, you're done on your local copy of the repository. All right, so here's my script. This is a script to create a script and move all your repositories under your organization or your account. So that's one use for GitHub Enterprise Importer. So you have to have your source personal access token, and then you're going to have this environment variable is probably named wrong, but GitHub Enterprise token. This would be your new location. The source is where you're going to pull it, personal access token, and then GitHub Enterprise token is the target location that you're going to have. You have two tokens, two personal access tokens, and they have to have admin privileges to modify anything under that account. So you go out and you create environment variables, and I'm not sure why. I can't remember why I had 3 set up here. Oh, you've got well, this is just generating a script. So the GitHub personal access token is the target personal access token in this environment variable. The GitHub host is the original host server URL. So yeah, okay, so these two are the same thing. And I'm not sure, I think I put both of them here because these were used as previous examples that I saw, but both of these are the same. Actually, these two are the same access token together here. And then you have the host server, which is your unique GitHub server, your self-hosted server URL for it, so it knows where to pull stuff from. And then you have your target GitHub access token. These top two are the same token. The bottom one is your new location on GitHub. And then the script executes this command to transfer the stuff over using the GitHub GitHub API. So you also have to have here, and this is what's left out in a lot of the videos when they talk about this thing, is you have an Azure storage connection string. So you have to have Azure storage for this thing to work, to move between your private enterprise server to the new GitHub in the cloud. So Microsoft owns GitHub, and apparently this tool needs to have Azure storage to perform the transfer, to migrate your code over. So if you have somebody that manages your Azure account for your company, you will need to either have them generate a access string or connection string, or if it's your own private account, you can create your own personal connection string. And there's plenty of videos on YouTube about how to do that. So this will generate a script in your local directory where you have this script setting on your box, your local box. It will generate a script. And you will tell it the name that you want to be created right here. This flag here is telling the version of the API that you're using. I was using at the time I was migrating stuff is version 3. Your organization, if it's for a business or whatever, your organization name, and then source organization. So that can be an organization, or it can be your personal your personal account. All right, so that will generate a script. Now here's another example I have, and I'm using the same environment variables for this, and you still have to have the Azure connection string. Migrate one single repository. So you just do this command here and this, and I'm going to have the link to my repository where you find these scripts, but in the description. But GitHub GI migrate repo dash, and then you again I told it I was using version 3 of the API. GitHub source organization, you give the name of the account or organization name that you're moving the repo from. The source repo, that would be the location of where your server's at. Dash GitHub target organization, that's the name of the organization, just in case you change the name on the GitHub server to a different name. You specify that, and then the target repo, the name of the repo that you're going to move it to. So you got the source repo name, repository name, and this will be your chance. You can name it differently going to the new GitHub if you want to do that. I hope this helps some people. There's plenty of videos on using this thing, but the main thing that I had an issue with is, again, they neglect to say that it's a requirement to have Azure storage to use the tool. Else it's not going to work. You can move, like if you're on a private repo, you can use the CLI stuff to migrate a repo on the same server from one location to another location. You can do that. But you can't go from like a private enterprise server straight into github.com without having Azure storage. That is a definite requirement. You have to have a connection string for it to all the work, to do the work. All right, folks, I appreciate your time. I hope this helps somebody. Hope it clears some stuff out, because it took me several videos to figure out what I was doing wrong. And I think the key piece I was having issues with was I didn't have Azure storage, and I was getting weird errors because I didn't have a Azure storage connection string. It didn't exist. So anyway, thanks for watching my video, and hopefully we'll see you in the next video.